Welcome back to the vlog, and it is a rather chilly day down here in Houston. Jason with a 5150 MX, buddy, you can take the cold weather back up north. Well guys, we're about to do a legitimate cold start on Goose because, well, it's super cold. I want to see how it is. You guys want to see a cold start? Me too! Let's turn it around. Hello Goose, hello baby. Let's do a cold start. Yeah. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cockpit View, where you get the view from outside, kind of like if you're just poking your head in from over there. Alright, so first off, we got to engage fuel pump, checking our gauges, altimeter, riveties. Let's reset the clockers in here, the clutch in, a couple pumps. Not too many revs at first, guys, but neutral. Ooh, smooth operator. Let's take you around back and show you what's going on. Alright guys, well welcome back. This is Jason with JWClassicVW, and today we're getting back to that 40 horsepower build because I know you guys are ready to hear this thing run at some point, right? Also today we're going to be covering a little bit of a follow-up to the install of the Atomwerk line spring plate. So stay tuned, somewhere in this video we're going to talk about that. So you're going to have to hang out and watch to get to that. Right after this intro, guys, get into the content. Lots to do today when it comes to pistons and cylinder heads, so stay tuned. See you in a second. All right, guys, it's time to get this party started. And before we can go ahead and do any work on the short block, getting those pistons installed, we want to go ahead and get the heads cleaned up. Now, there's lots of different things you can do to port these bad boys to get some more flow, to get better performance, depending on the kind of cam that you're running in your, 1600, which that's what we're building. This 40 horsepower is being changed out to a 1600. Originally was a little bit smaller than that, but we changed the piston cylinder size to go ahead and up that CC a bit, but we're not putting in an aggressive cam, so we don't have to do any crazy porting on these heads, but I'm gonna go ahead and clean them up and take a look. I've already done a while ago, redid like a little bit of valve grinding to go ahead and make sure those seats were good to go, so we don't have to worry about that either. But I'm gonna go ahead and point some things out and show you. Gotta get the head work done before we get the pistons and cylinders in, so let me turn you around and show you what's going on with that. All right, you can see I got the special tool that you can pick up. I'll link this down in the description below, guys, if you're interested in picking one up. This is used to go ahead and remove your valves from your head, compressing the springs, and then you can pull it right out. No problem, easy, using a magnet makes it real simple. Let me go ahead and get you guys positioned, and we're gonna go ahead. I already pulled out the valves on this head, but we're gonna go ahead and get this head over here, and then I'm gonna show you guys how it is done. All right, now that you've got a bird's eye view, it's really cool because these two little steps that are on this tool kind of hold the valves in place whenever you compress the spring. And that's what makes this gizmo work. Pretty sweet. Now, the one thing you want to do is, like for me, I have it held down to the bench. You're going to want something to hold it down to the bench. You can also screw this thing down in, but I don't ever use it that much to where I need to have it permanently affixed. So like I was telling you guys, a magnet is the way that this is done with ease. And we're just gonna run through all the valves pretty quick, pulling out the keepers. All right, there's one. You do not want to be sticking your fingers in there because that's a quick way to get pinched and lose some skin real easy. Don't ask me how I know that. All right, let's go ahead and get this intake valve. This was the exhaust, and this is our intake. Ooh, both came off at the same time. Yeehaw. There we go. Easy peasy. Okay, now as you lift your head off, the valves may drop down through depending on if you have any kind of like extra rise or these have kind of mushroom them a little bit here. Let me bring you in and show you what I mean. On the valve tip right here, where the keeper seat sits against here, these little ridges here can kind of mushroom out sometimes, and you have to take a file or an emery cloth and kind of clean those up, which I've already done on these a while back when I first took these out when I was doing the little bit of valve job that I did. So when you lift these up, they might stick against the valve guide. So you do not want to drag these through. You don't want to pull them through. You don't want to twist them through because you'll destroy the valve guide, and that's no good. So go ahead and make sure that if it is sticking, that you pull the valve back up and clean off the edges here, all right? And then it should just fall down through. All right, good, good, good. If you've already done like some valve grinding, you definitely don't want to mix up which valve goes where. I think I've already done the valve grinding on these previously, so I don't want to mix up where my valves are because they've been mated against the valve seats. Super clean though. Very good. Cool. Well, hello guys, and welcome back to what has turned into the porting channel. If you've been following my Instagram, Facebook, you know that I've decided to go ahead and do a little bit of mild porting on this single port head, and it's right behind me, and I'm about to show you guys what's been going on and what I've done so far. So let's turn around, take a look, and get right into it. Did you hear the rooster? Damn that rooster! So before we start looking at these heads and kind of some of the mild porting that I've done, the question's gonna come, well, how do I port? Well, there's gonna be a couple things you're gonna need. Some bits, kind of like these. These help remove material faster. And then a little bit of a porting kit doesn't hurt as well. I've got a porting kit down here that has a bunch of different drums that are in, that come with it. Small, big drums. You can pick stuff up like that from Harbor Freight or just online through Amazon. I'll link some of the information down in the description below. And don't forget, guys, as always, I'm an Amazon affiliate. So if you do pick up a rooster, pick up some of these parts or materials that are listed down below. They help out the channel, and I do appreciate that. Let's go ahead and turn around and take a look at this head and show you what I've been up to. Yeah, I got it all kind of lit up to hopefully help out with you guys being able to see exactly what's going on here and what I've done or what I've been up to. Let's look at the exhaust side first real quick. If I can get this light to move a little bit. Whoa! Oh, man, it's dropping everything. Crap City. It's blinding me. Hopefully it's not blinding you guys. Let me move this a little bit. Okay, so when you're looking at the exhaust port side here, let's zoom in a little bit. You guys can see the shelf. The shelf is this area right in here, off to the side, this shelf area. That is one of the things that obstruct flow on the exhaust side. The same thing can kind of be seen on the intake side. Somebody's out there having a good time. But the shelf is not as pronounced. See what I mean? It's right in there. So let's move over to the side that has been ported, mildly ported. Nothing crazy. Here we go. Now, it is important to note that you have to drive out the guides, which I heated these guides up a little bit to help dry them out. And there's a tool that you can pick up to do that with, but I didn't have that, so I ended up just using I'll show you, a punch I had. This punch worked out really good when it came to knocking these things out. And then I had to clean up the ends to make sure that, the guide and the valve still worked well together. But you can see that this side, this intake side, has actually been improved quite a bit when it comes to the flow from the intake, so that, your fuel and your air is going to move quite a bit better through this guide, or through that intake port. Now, when you look at the exhaust port over here, which I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but the shelf has been decreased quite a bit. Let me see if I can get a light behind there so you can see. There you go. You can tell definitely that the path for flow on this exhaust side has been improved dramatically. And this is the side where I spent most of my time this morning kind of working, removing that material. But having the right tools does make a big difference. You don't want to go to like a full polished type of port. You don't want to go through this thing and remove all the roughness, because that roughness helps break up the air-fuel mixture as it's traveling through. Not necessarily on the exhaust side, but definitely on the intake side. Cool. So let's do one more kind of like comparison. This is the ported side, how it looks now. And then we have the stock side. Definitely, like I was saying, you can see a huge difference between the exhaust ports, which will help flow quite a bit. The intake side, you definitely remove quite a bit of material, but it is not as noticeable. There we go, guys. That is what I'm doing. And I'll probably do a little bit of lapping on these valves just to make sure that everything's good to go, but nothing crazy. Cool. Yeah, I've got quite a bit of work to do on these cylinder heads, and I'm going to bring you guys back as soon as I finish that up to kind of show you what I've done and how everything looks. And then we can go ahead and put this long block together because everything's good to go. Right now, we're going to go ahead and talk about, like I told you guys, and I promised, we're going to go over a follow-up review of the Atomwerks line of spring plates, the ones that you can drop that are pretty badass. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'm going to bring you guys around to the backside of Goose, and we can go ahead and talk about what I think now that I've had them on there for a little while. Okay, here it is. Here it is in all its glory. And I'm going to tell you that people see, the first thing they see is this poking out from behind the wheel. And they're like, what do you got going on underneath there? That's not stuck. And they're right. So one of the first parts that I wanted to talk apart, or that I talked about with the initial install, was the build quality. And people see that right off the bat. They see, they see how well it's constructed. They see all the little extras, like we talked about before, guys, with the extra scene that's done on just the little things. The craftsmanship is outstanding. Now, when it comes to the bearing, there are a few things that I would like to correct. The bearing inside of this machined aluminum area back in the back, the actual mounting plate that goes onto the rear torsion area, this right here has a pressed-in bearing. Now, those Allen screws that I was telling you about, they need to be tightened down, and that, my friends, was a mistake that I made, and I'll be taking this assembly apart. Now, in complete transparency, there was also a piece that Atomwerks did not send to me that I also have to install, and what that does is it's a spacer, or a little bit of a block that goes on the backside here that keeps things from moving just a little bit. So honestly, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference having that installed, but that just goes to show you the kind of concern that they have over there at Kinetic and with this Atomwerks line, that they want everything to be perfect, guys. And with the money you spend on this, you would want it to be perfect, right? So there are a couple things that they took my advice on and came out with. They came out with a different type of spacer for the install here, these spacers that go behind the hardware for the mounting plate to space it off correctly. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put a picture up over here of that because I left them upstairs. Yeah, that's right. I left them upstairs. They're upstairs, and I'll just put a picture of that right here for you guys to see. And something else that I added down here, is it necessary? Probably not. But I was concerned about this area right here. You can see I added, they give you so much extra hardware. There was some extra hardware in the kit. So I took one of the nuts they gave me, and I installed it right here on these threads. And the idea behind this is that if for whatever reason this starts to come loose, which it's not going to come loose, this, what you see here, is from me not loosening it up enough when I was adjusting this thing to the current ride height. So I put this nut on here to keep it from maybe causing issues with the threads on the actual machine portion of the spring plates. So that was me. Does it need it? I don't know. Probably not. Whoa. Whoa. my light's going crazy, guys. But the main thing, the main factor that I really liked about adding these spring plates with the correct drop and the adjustable drop is that it restores your stock suspension feel. And I will have to say that that is true. I have gotten so much more of a better ride out of the back of my car. And the real way that I tell that is when I have my kids in there, because, you add an extra couple 100 pounds to a Volkswagen, right away if there's a ride issue or a suspension issue with the rear end, and it just sinks down, like it's about bottoms out. Well, that doesn't happen anymore, and it's pretty cool that adding just this spring plate here restored that. Now, you could probably get that same thing with a different type of spring plate at maybe a quarter of the cost or half the cost of this, but when you buy the spring plates here from Atomwerks, you're not only getting some outstanding engineering with the internal bearing, but you're also getting just gorgeous look, man. Now, is that worth the cost? You really have to decide that, guys. For my car, Goose. If you guys have forgotten about Goose, she's a beauty, and the idea of putting something just as gorgeous on her was a selling point for me. Now, moving forward, we're gonna really get to test these bad boys out because we have a little bit of a extra sum going in back here in the engine area. Yeah, that's getting a little bit of an upgrade, guys. Well, a little bit. It's getting a whole lot of an upgrade, guys. And that's coming soon. And we're going to really be able to test these suckers out and put them to the real gauntlet of the burnouts. Because, well, that's what's going to happen. So, we got some head stuff to figure out. the bad news. So I was porting out my heads, and I was putting it in one of my intake valve guides, reinstalling it, and now it's loose. My guess is through some of the porting and removing some of the material on the valve guide, the boss area inside of there, that it loosened up. So what we're gonna have to do is I'm gonna first order a new valve guide and see if I can install that. I think that I can install an exhaust valve guide, but I'm not sure about that. It has a seat on it, and it's a little bit more robust, so maybe I can install that and we won't have the issue. So we're gonna go that route first, and then hopefully that will save having to have the head machined out and then having a new valve guide installed. But, well, I'm not sure. Maybe you guys know. This is the first time I've had sorry about that. The first time I've had a valve guide loosen up like this. So comment below, guys. What do you think I should do? Do you think I should just go right to getting it machined, or what? The idea I'm having about picking up an exhaust valve guide and trying that? Maybe just a regular intake valve guide? Who knows? Comment below, guys. Let me know what you think. That's probably gonna wrap it up for today, guys. If you got the money, there's choices to be made. And us car guys, what do we like to do with our money? We like to spend it on our car. And people look at our cars and like, oh man, that guy must be doing pretty good. And I'm gonna tell you, no, we're not doing pretty good. We just spend all of our money on our car. We all have our addictions, and mine just happens to be a Volkswagen addiction. Well, guys, that's gonna do it for today. That's gonna really wrap it up. We got a few things we gotta fix, we gotta work on before we can finish this long block. And this is what happens, guys. You get into a build or a rebuild, and you start to figure out if things aren't what they need to be. So you gotta fix them along the way. And you guys will be able to follow along with that as well. Now, something else that I wanted to tell you about getting for the rear end while I was back there, but I just forgot about it, is I'm going to be picking up some of those Ron Loomis shocks. And if you guys know what I'm talking about, they're like a dial adjust shock for the rear end that are like $600 for the pair. But like I said, we got a little bit of an upgrade coming for the rear end, and it's going to be a cha-ching upgrade where we can drop in a little bit of money, and yeah, it's going to be fun, guys. Once again, thank you to all you. It's because of my subscribers and because of your guys' involvement in the channel that we are where we are today. We're on our way to 4,000, and it's exciting. I can't believe it sometimes that I've got that many subscribers. That many of you guys are out there watching this stuff. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. So I will see you next time on part 8 of the rebuild. We have probably some other things we might do in between because, you know, I don't know how long it's going to take me to get the head fixed. But moving on with this rebuild, once we get the head fixed, guys, this is Jason from JWClassicVW. Stay warm out there. It's getting a little bit chilly. Stay safe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Until then, bye-bye.